Good day, everyone, and welcome to the second part of Week's 2 lecture. We shall start this lecture with Slide 6. Slide 6, Activation Thresholds. When does the CMT convene? Not every problem should activate the full crisis management team. Overactivation wastes senior attention and may create unnecessary alarm. Underactivation allows a manageable incident to grow, while the organization continues treating it as routine. Activation thresholds create a disciplined middle ground. Tier 1 is a localized incident. It is manageable by a department, has low impact, and can be resolved through normal procedures. Examples include a brief outage affecting one office, a minor employee injury already under control, or a small customer service disruption. The department documents the event and monitors for change, but the full CMT does not convene. Tier 2 is an elevated response. The event has wider consequences, requires more than one function, or may attract external attention. Examples include a system outage affecting several departments, a serious workplace injury, a developing media inquiry, or a disruption lasting beyond the department's recovery target. Selected CMT roles activate, and an executive sponsor receives scheduled updates. Tier 3 is a full crisis. The event threatens life safety, major operations, legal standing, financial stability, or public trust. Examples include an active threat, a major data breach, a multi-site shutdown, a fatality, or sustained national media coverage. The full CMT activates and may notify the board or external authorities. The most useful thresholds mix objective and qualitative triggers. Objective triggers include systems unavailable for more than 2 hours, losses above a stated amount, or more than one site affected. Qualitative triggers include credible media attention, regulator contact, vulnerable populations at risk, or uncertainty so great that the potential consequence is severe. Imagine a university network outage. 10 minutes affecting one classroom may be Tier 1. 4 hours affecting enrollment and payroll could be Tier 2. Evidence that the outage resulted from ransomware and exposed student records could immediately make it Tier 3, even before the full financial impact is known. The central lesson is simple. Define the trigger when people are calm. In the crisis, employees should apply the rule, not negotiate whether the problem is serious enough to deserve attention. Slide 7. Executive reporting. During a crisis, executives do not need every detail. They need the right information at the right time. Poor reporting can fail in two opposite ways. Leaders receive so little information that they cannot decide, or they receive an unfiltered flood of messages that hides what matters. A situation report, or SITREP, creates a common operating picture. It should state what happened, what is confirmed, what remains uncertain, what actions have been completed, what risks are changing, what decisions are needed, and when the next update will arrive. During the acute phase, a SITREP might be issued every 2 hours. A predictable schedule reduces constant requests for updates. A useful SITREP is concise. For example, at 10 a.m., the payment system remains unavailable in all stores. No evidence of data theft is confirmed. Stores are using offline procedures. IT estimates restoration between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Decision needed by 10:30. Authorize customer notice and temporary cash-only operations. Next update, noon. This is more actionable than a 10-page technical chronology. A decision briefing is prepared when leaders must choose among options. It includes the situation, available choices, trade-offs, a recommendation, and the decision deadline. For a product defect, options might be a limited recall, a full voluntary recall, or temporary suspension while testing continues. Executives should see the safety, legal, financial, and reputational implications of each option. Board and stakeholder notifications follow predetermined thresholds. Legal and communications should prepare them together so they are accurate, responsible, and understandable. External statements must be based on verified facts and coordinated through the authorized channel. Good reporting distinguishes facts from assumptions. Use labels such as confirmed, unconfirmed, and working assessment. That simple discipline prevents a rumor from quietly turning into an executive decision premise. If your chief executive had only 60 seconds to read an update, which 5 facts would be essential and which details could wait? Slide 8, Decision Principles for High Pressure Moments. Policies cannot anticipate every crisis. When the situation is new, evidence is incomplete, and time is short, decision principles become a compass. They help different leaders reach consistent choices, even when no procedure gives a perfect answer. The first principle is life safety first. Money, equipment, schedules, and reputation are important, but none should outrank human safety. If a school receives a credible threat, leaders should not delay protective action simply because cancellation is expensive or embarrassing. The second principle is transparency over convenience. Transparency does not mean publishing private information or unverified claims. It means telling people what is known, clearly acknowledging what is not yet known, explaining what is being done, and correcting earlier information when necessary. Saying, "We are investigating and will update you at 4 p.m." is more trustworthy than pretending certainty. The third principle balances speed with accuracy. Waiting for perfect information may be impossible, but reckless speed can worsen harm. Leaders should use time boxes, identify the information essential to the decision, set a deadline, decide with the best available evidence, and revise as new facts emerge. For example, an organization may temporarily disconnect a suspected network segment before it knows the full cause because containment is reversible and delay could spread damage. The fourth principle uses values as a decision filter. If an organization claims to value dignity, fairness, and service, those values must shape choices when pressure rises. During layoffs caused by a crisis, dignity might require direct communication, consistent criteria, and meaningful support rather than impersonal messages delivered without warning. A practical decision check is: who could be harmed? What do we know and not know? Which option is reversible? What value does each option protect or violate? What will this decision look like when reviewed publicly 6 months from now? These questions slow panic without creating paralysis. The goal is not flawless moral reasoning in seconds. It is to establish shared principles beforehand, so ethical behavior is the organization's practiced default. Slide 9. Post-crisis vision, leading beyond the incident crisis. Leadership should not aim only to stop the immediate damage. Leaders need a picture of the future they are trying to create. A post-crisis vision answers: what will recovery look like? How will stakeholders experience it? And what must be better than before? A clear restoration target defines normal. For a hospital after a system failure, normal might mean clinical systems restored, delayed records reconciled, patient safety checks completed, and normal staffing resumed. Simply saying the system is online is too narrow if operational risks remain. An improvement commitment ensures the organization learns. After the hospital outage, improvement might include redundant access, revised downtime procedures, and quarterly drills. This changes the story from "we survived" to "we reduced the chance and impact of recurrence." A stakeholder promise explains what affected people can expect. Customers might receive notice, identity protection support, refunds, or progress updates. Employees might receive counseling, safe work assurances, or clear schedule information. Trust returns when promises are specific and consistently fulfilled. Timeline anchors make progress visible. Leaders should avoid unrealistic promises such as "everything will be back tomorrow" when evidence does not support them. Better language uses milestones: essential services within 24 hours, full restoration within 7 days, independent review within 30 days, and public improvement report within 60 days. Consider a university after a campus safety incident. Containment may happen in hours, but recovery includes supporting affected students, communicating with families, reviewing security procedures, restoring confidence, and demonstrating that lessons produced real change. Without that longer view, teams may declare victory while stakeholders still feel unsafe and unheard. A strong vision reduces decision fatigue because each action can be tested against the desired future. Ask, does this choice move us towards safe restoration, stronger capability, and renewed trust, or does it only make today's pressure quieter? Slide 10, Workshop. Design your crisis management team. This workshop converts the framework into an organization-specific design. The objective is not to create an ideal team copied from a textbook. It is to build the best workable structure using the people, partners, and authority your organization actually has. Begin by mapping risks. Identify the 3 to 5 scenarios most capable of harming people, operations, legal standing, or trust. A university might select campus violence, cyber attack, severe weather, student death, and executive misconduct. A restaurant may focus on fire, foodborne illness, supply interruption, social media controversy, and payment system failure. Next, assign roles. For every core CMT function, name a primary person and a backup. Record the person's crisis title, responsibilities, decisions they may make, decisions they must escalate, and how they will be reached outside business hours. Do not assume that everyone knows their role because of their ordinary job title. Then stress test the design. Ask what happens if the event occurs at midnight, the leader is unavailable, phones fail, the normal office is inaccessible, or the person assigned to communications is also the subject of the allegation. Stress testing exposes single points of failure before they become real failures. Example, a small nonprofit may not employ a full-time lawyer or IT director. Its design might identify the executive director as CMT leader, the operations manager as continuity lead, a board member as backup leader, an outside law firm as legal advisor, and a contracted technology company as cyber response support. This is realistic and much stronger than leaving unavailable roles blank. Each participant should leave with a completed role card. A useful role card is brief enough to consult under pressure and specific enough to guide action. It should tell the person what you own, what you may approve, whom you contact, who replaces you, and your first actions after activation. Facilitator prompt, which essential role currently depends on only one person, and how can the team create a credible backup? Slide 11, role assignment drill. The role assignment drill tests whether the organizational chart can function as a crisis team. Job descriptions explain ordinary responsibilities. This exercise reveals who will actually decide and act during an abnormal, fast-moving event. Step 1 is the scenario brief. The facilitator presents a realistic event with enough detail to create pressure, but not enough to make the answer obvious. For example, at 8:15 a.m., employees cannot access shared files. A ransom note appears on several computers. A local reporter calls at 8:40 asking whether customer records were stolen. Step 2 is self-assignment. Participants identify their CMT role and list their first 3 actions in the first hour. The IT lead may isolate affected systems and preserve evidence. Communications may prepare a holding statement and employee notice. Legal may evaluate notification duties. Operations may activate manual procedures. The leader may declare the crisis tier and establish the reporting cadence. Step 3 is gap analysis. Compare the answers. Did 2 people assume they had final authority? Did nobody take responsibility for employees? Did communications plan to speak before facts were verified? Was there no backup for the leader? Could anyone contact the outside technology provider after hours? These gaps are valuable findings, not failures of the exercise. Step 4 is debrief and documentation. The group resolves conflicts and records the decisions in the CMT charter or activation matrix. A drill has little lasting value if the lessons remain in the room. Assign an owner and deadline for every correction. The facilitator should also examine behavior. Who dominated? Who stayed silent despite holding essential expertise? Did the group distinguish strategic decisions from technical tasks? Did leaders ask for a recommendation or merely request more data? Team dynamics can undermine a structurally correct plan. Close the drill with 3 questions. What worked? What created delay or confusion? What will we change before the next exercise? Repeat the drill with different scenarios, because a team that performs well during a fire may still struggle during executive misconduct or a cyber incident. Slide 12. Deliverable. Build your CMT activation matrix. The CMT activation matrix is the operational backbone of this module. It puts crisis tiers, triggers, roles, escalation, and initial actions in one place, so the organization can move from recognition to coordinated response without reinventing the process. First, define the crisis tiers with measurable criteria. Avoid vague descriptions such as serious incident. Instead, specify impact. One department versus multiple sites, outage under 1 hour versus beyond the recovery target, limited inquiry versus sustained public attention, no injury versus threat to life. Second, list activation triggers across 5 categories: safety, operational, financial, reputational, and regulatory. Include both actual impact and credible potential impact. A credible threat to life may justify Tier 3 activation even before anyone is harmed. Third, map roles by tier. Tier 1 might remain with the department and notify one executive. Tier 2 may activate the team leader, operations, communications, and the relevant specialist. Tier 3 may activate the full CMT, legal counsel, board notification, and external response partners. Precision prevents both overcrowding and missing expertise. Fourth, document escalation pathways. State who contacts whom, through which channel, and within what time. For example, incident owner calls the duty manager within 10 minutes. Duty manager notifies the CMT leader by phone and secure message within 15 minutes. If unanswered after 5 minutes, contact the designated alternate. Fifth, identify the first 5 actions. A strong general sequence is protect life and stop immediate harm. Verify and classify the event. Activate the appropriate roles and communication channel. Establish a common operating picture and reporting cadence. Communicate essential instructions to affected stakeholders. Adapt these actions to the organization and scenario. Example matrix logic. A 20-minute local network interruption is Tier 1 and handled by IT. An outage exceeding 2 hours that stops enrollment and payroll is Tier 2 and activates IT, operations, communications, and the CMT leader. Confirmed ransomware with possible student data exposure is Tier 3 and activates the full CMT, legal reporting review, board notification, law enforcement or forensic support, and scheduled stakeholder updates. Final reminder, test the matrix in a tabletop exercise. A document becomes reliable only when people can use it under realistic pressure. Review it at least annually and whenever personnel, vendors, risks, or legal obligations change. Effective crisis leadership begins before the crisis. Clear authority, named roles, agreed thresholds, disciplined reporting, and principled decisions turn uncertainty into coordinated action. And that concludes Week 2 on crisis management. Thank you for watching.